Hi all. So I wanted to do a video diary of what's been going on in my personal journey to achieve financial freedom in this video. First, what's been going on with my husband. My husband, um, he was a director at a resort in South Florida. He had that position for about 5 years, something like that. But he worked at that resort for 25 years total. So we decided with healthcare deductions, with taxes, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't cutting it anymore. We wanted to do kind of our own thing, as I said in the last video. We wanted to go out on our own. We feel like we have life experience, we have work experience that we can use to run our own business, to do our own thing. So he decided to start up his own golf cart sales and repair shop at the resort where he worked. Now, the way he was going to do this was he had a lady that he knew there. He had like an acquaintance that he knew at the club. She was also a member at the club, and she had a few offices for rent. So she was going to allow him actually to stay in one of these offices, to use one of these offices to do his golf cart sales and repair. In exchange, he would work for her as a real estate agent because he also has a real estate license. So he didn't have to pay rent. So it seemed like a great deal. He also had contacts from the golf cart sales that he had been doing for 5 years. It was probably more than 5 years, 8 years, something like that. In that time, he made great contacts to sell golf carts and to rent golf carts. So he was going to basically get the golf carts as needed. He didn't have to buy like 15 golf carts up front. He didn't have to become a dealer, which, that costs more money. So it was going to be a lot easier transition for him to have his own thing working at this same resort. So he was in the process of submitting his paperwork. He got a partner. He went into that business with a partner. And they were in the process of submitting the paperwork the first week that they were open. I remember on Friday of the week, they had been open since Monday. On Friday of that week, they got banned from the club. Yeah. They use a technicality. His ex-boss said that the reason why they were being banned was because his partner had parked on the grass, and this is like a very private, very hoity-toity resort, and you can't park on the grass, so that's against the rules. So because of that, they got banned from entering the club. It was a very stupid technicality, obviously done to stop competition. Now, I know what you're thinking. You can't go into a club and start up a business that competes directly with what that club does. I get that. But he wasn't doing that, because how it happened was the different companies that sold golf carts, the little golf carts to my husband, to the club that my husband worked for, they sold different types of golf carts. And the club did not want to buy certain types of them. They only wanted to buy like 2 or 3. So my husband was going to sell the other types of golf carts that the club didn't want to sell. So he was not going to be direct competition for the club. He was going to sell different types of golf carts. But they said no because of these technicalities. Basically, they didn't want the competition. And it was going to be, it had already made, my husband had already sold 6 golf carts in this week, in that week that they were operational. And they had done a major repair already. Like that repair was like $8,000 or something like that. So they were set up to make really good money, and it was set up to be a good business. But they were banned and they were not allowed back in the club. So that was the end of that. My husband, he tried to set up his own golf cart sales outside of this resort, but like I said, outside it was much more difficult because he would have to become a dealer. And to become a dealer, there's lots of specifications. One of them is you have to purchase a certain amount of golf carts up front. I think it's something like 20 golf carts or something like that. Each of these golf carts is like $6,000. So they would have to come up with that capital plus rent for the location, which in South Florida is the same as if you were going to get an apartment. You have to come up with first, last, and security deposit. And these rents are like $2,000 or $3,000 a month. So it was, we would have to invest a lot of money into that business if he was going to do it outside of the resort. In the resort, he didn't have to invest virtually anything. So it was almost perfect to run this type. And plus he had the clientele right there. In this resort, almost every single person in this resort has a golf cart. And if there's two or three people living in a home, there's 2 or 3 golf carts per household in this resort. So this was really the place to start up this business. So they couldn't do it. My husband, he tried. He asked several people that he knew outside of the club if they would let him use like some of their space to put golf carts. It became almost impossible, and my husband started fretting because he started, feeling like he wasn't providing, and he was the only, at the time he was the only one working. So he felt like, no, I have to get a job. I have to get a regular job. So he started applying, and I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, however we want to see it, he got a job pretty quickly. Within 2 months, he got a job with the city that we live in. He got a job for the city, working also as a director of general sales. Of general services. My husband has a bachelor's in business administration. It was actually quite surprising how quickly he found a job, and it was almost the exact same salary. So he didn't even lose out on that. And this job is closer to home than the other one. For the other job that he had to travel 40 minutes to work. For this job, it's literally, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. It's like right around the corner. And he says his bosses are better, not much better, but a little better. At least they're not as arbitrary as his old boss was. But I can tell that there's still a little bit of arbitrary going on there, because that's the way jobs are these days. It used to be that you had a boss that would consult you, that would take your opinion into consideration, that would ask for your input before making decisions. And these days, it's like bosses are like bad parents. You have no dignity, you have no autonomy. You just do what you're told and don't ask any questions. Unfortunately, that's what jobs have become. That's why part of the reason why we were trying to get out of that 9-to-5 rat race. But it is what it is. And he got this job, and he's a lot more content with that than me. Now, turn to me. When he lost his job, almost immediately I started looking for jobs, because I was like, you concentrate on doing your own thing. You concentrate on doing the golf cart business, and I will concentrate on getting a job so we can just pay the immediate bills. We had some savings. It wasn't like we didn't have anything to fall back on. We did. We had some savings. We were fine. We weren't starving or anything. And thankfully, our home is paid off. So we didn't have that to worry about. But, there's always bills. There's food, there's gas, there's insurance, there's, light bill, water bill. There's all these other bills. So I was like, I need to get a job. So I applied for multiple jobs. The job that I decided to take, and one of the few that called me back, honestly, was a job for a hospice company, home health hospice company. I remembered that when I worked as a nurse, that was like the job that I enjoyed the most, because I got to visit people in their homes, and they were much more relaxed, and it wasn't as tense and as stressful as a hospital. So I decided to give that job a shot, and I got that job pretty quickly. Almost about a month after my husband lost his job, I had a job. And I did orientation for a month, and then I did training for another month. And after that is when things went sour. The first incident that I had was one weekend. I had to work every other weekend. That was the arrangement. So right away, my boss tells me, like, right after I got hired, I signed all the paperwork. I did all the, the blood work, the physical and all that. After that, she tells me, oh, by the way, you have to work every week 3 days, plus every other week 3 days, plus the weekend. That's not what I was told, and that's not what I signed in my initial paperwork. What I was told and what I signed was I have to work 3 days every week. So now she's telling me that it's not 3 days a week, it's 3 days one week, 5 days the next week. So we kind of got into it a little bit because I'm like, that's not what I agreed to. I agreed to 3 days every week. And she's like, no, it's 3 days plus weekends every other week. So we had a disagreement, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to do 3 days. And she basically had to accept it because that's what my job description, that's what I signed up for. That's what I signed. The documents that I signed said your requirement are 3 days a week and every other weekend. So, the week that I worked the weekend, those were my 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That was my weekend. The next day I worked during the week. The next week I worked during the week. So that was the first disagreement. The second disagreement came when I got my first weekend assignment. For 2 months, I didn't work weekends because I was doing orientation and then I was doing training. When it was finally time for me to get my first weekend assignment, I got my assignment. It was a Saturday morning. I got my assignment like at 10:40 a.m. I've been waiting since 8 in the morning to get this assignment. I got it super late, and it was like hieroglyphics. It was gibberish. Someone had taken a picture. They had handwritten my assignment and then taken a picture of it and then texted me that, like an image of this jibber jabber with hieroglyphics that someone wrote. So of course I have to get clarification. I'm not going to patients' houses if I don't understand the assignment. So I'm calling the weekend manager. It's incredibly impossible to get a hold of her. Finally, I get a hold of her, and she's super defensive. Like, what's not to understand? Why don't you understand it? I'm like, because I don't understand these abbreviations and this handwriting. Is that a T? Is that an R? Like TX. Does that mean treatment? Does that mean treatment or transfer or what? What are you, like, this is my first weekend and you give me the assignment like that. So she got very defensive, didn't answer any of my questions. By this time, it was like 11 a.m. So I told her, you know what? This is not safe for me to do this assignment. I'm not going to see patients this weekend because this is not safe for me to be receiving my assignment super late. At this point, I still have to look up the patients, call the primary caregiver, basically no. So then, of course, that caused a disagreement with my boss. When I came to work on Monday, or when Monday came around, she calls me and she tells me, what did you do? Why did you do this to the manager, to the weekend manager? And I'm like, wait a minute, you haven't even gotten my side of it yet. You're just calling me and telling me, what did I do? So of course, there was a disagreement there. We didn't agree there. It's 2 strikes already. The final straw came on a day when I worked a total of 11 hours because it's 8 hours that they'll pay me for, 1 hour in the morning to get my assignment and gather the information about the patients and call the patient's primary caregivers to tell them what time I'm going to go. And then 6-7 hours to see the patients, to actually go and see the patients. Sometimes there's a distance between the patients. Sometimes the patient's not there. You have to go back later on in the day. There's a lot of things that could come up. So basically, they'll pay you for 8 hours. After you do that, you need to do your charting. So many times after that, I would come home, start my notes around 5 p.m. and finish around 9 p.m. So I would be working from 8 to 3, that's 7 hours. And then from 5 to 9, that's 4 hours. So a total of 11 hours. On this particular day, I spent 2 hours with an admission. The patient was agitated. I had to call the doctor. I had to get Ativan. I had to get a medicine to calm the patient down. I had to talk to the family. I had to, calm the family down, give them pointers, try to, soothe the situation, stay with them. And then I had to do my paperwork, my admission with my gazillion questions that you have to ask patients. And I have to stay in the home to do it because I have to be asking them these questions. So I spent about 2 hours with this patient total. They only gave me 5 patients, but I spent 2 hours with one. So I did my 8 hours plus my charting. So the boss calls me the next day and she's like, why did you charge for 8 hours yesterday? And I said, well, I actually worked 11 hours, but I'm only charging for 8. And she was like, no, we only gave you 5 patients. You should only charge for about 6 or 7 hours. You should not have to be charging for 8 hours when you only got 5 patients. I was like, but I worked 8 hours. So you're telling me that it's not about the work that I do. It's about what should happen. If I have 5 patients, you should only do 6 hours. But what if you didn't? It's like when you work in the hospital. Sometimes you stay there until 8 p.m. at night, 8:30 at night. You're supposed to leave at 7:30, but you don't just drop everything and leave the hospital. Well, it's the same thing in any job dealing with patients. Dealing with patients and dealing with children. You cannot just up and leave because it's the safety of them. And in this case, the peace of mind and comfort also of the family. So you cannot just drop everything at 5 o'clock. So that was the third strike. I said, basically, I don't know if I can continue working here after 3 months, 3 whole months. And I'm having this type of disagreements with my boss. I said, I need to think about it if I'm going to continue working in this place for this organization. And her response to me was, okay. That was what she said. She didn't try to convince me. She didn't say, no, we really like you. We really appreciate you. No, none of the above. And if I must say so, if I do say so myself, I'm a very good nurse. I provide very good care for my patients. And it's not just me saying it. I got it from a lot of my patients. They would often tell me, what's your first and last name? I want to call your boss and tell them what a great experience I had with you. I'm so happy that you came. I'm so glad that you came. I wish that you could always come. They were very kind to me. I never had one problem with any patient or any family member. It was the administration. So basically I haven't worked for about 2 weeks. That's where we're at. My husband, he's been working at the city as a director of general services. And he's a very chill guy. His motto in life is, it is what it is. He says he likes it. He says he's okay with it. He makes okay money and he likes it. But I still have this I don't know, it's this little spark, is this something inside of me that says I should do my own thing. I'm at an age, I'm at a point in my life where I think I'm ready to start my own thing. But here's the problem. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is I'm supposed to be doing for myself. Is it YouTube? I mean, I'm sharing this story with people and I'm hoping that it resonates with someone or a group of people that are somewhere on the same boat as me, that are like tired of the 9-to-5 rat race, that are trying to find something to do, maybe a side hustle, maybe a side hustle that turns into a full-blown income. I don't know. Is it YouTube? I don't know. Now, at the same time, I also feel kind of like I'm at a crossroads with nursing so I tried this job and it didn't pan out. I applied also for a hospital job. And actually I got a call today for a phone interview on Tuesday. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and do that because I want to see if I still have it in me to do the hospital nursing. The home health nursing, the job itself was a piece of cake. I mean, it obviously it has its highs and lows, but it was not difficult work at all. I feel like I could do it very well if I would have had good administration. But the hospital is another ballgame. I don't know if I'm still cut up for that. So I want to try it. I want to see what's new, what's changed. Has anything changed? Is anything new, or is it just the same? Because as I remember med surge, how many years ago I was there, it was brutal. And I don't know why, but I want to see. It's like before I close the door, before I turn the page and start a complete new chapter of my life, I want to see if what I did for so long, if it's still there. Is it still something that I could do? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try. I mean, obviously I haven't got that job yet, but I would like to, so I can see. And that's where I'm at. I am starting to, I applied for a job back in med surge. It's an observation unit. It's a part-time job. It's 2 days a week, 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening, which is really 6 in the morning to 8 in the evening. But okay, let's see if my body can handle also that running around, because it's a lot of running around. It's physically demanding as well, not just mentally and emotionally. So let's see if I can handle that. Let's see if they give me the job, and let's see if I can handle that. And then also, I'm starting to do this YouTube more. I would like to start to do it more regularly. Now, for the editing, I am terrible at editing. I don't know why I'm so technologically challenged. You would think I'd be better, because I mean, I had a cell phone at the age of 18. I had a computer at the age of 15. Us in this age, like born between like 1979 to like 1984-ish, the Zennials, we kind of had it both ways. We remember a childhood with no technology, like no advanced smart technology, but we also remember when cell phones came out, and we recall using the internet and using, technology. So it's not like I should be that clueless, but I'm just not very patient. So what I decided to do is, I think I need to take one thing at a time. If I'm going to do YouTube videos and upload them regularly, I can't put that kind of pressure on myself to edit them perfectly, because then I'll never put them out. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just not going to edit them. I'm going to put them out. I'm just trying to have a conversation. What I'm mostly interested in is the input that other people can give me. Other people of all ages, but especially those around my age. What are you doing? How are you handling it? How are you handling the way that society has turned? 9 to 5 is brutal, and it barely pays the bills. How are you doing it? How are you handling it? Why, do you have a side hustle? What's your side hustle? How did you get started in it? How do you deal with it mentally and emotionally? I'm mostly looking for support, more so than becoming a editor or a YouTube, that puts these fancy icons and these fancy graphics and all this. I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in connecting more so than becoming a YouTuber. I want to connect with people. I've always been fascinated with social issues, why people act the way that they act, and how they interact with each other in every way, men and women, different cultures, family dynamics, all that is extremely interesting to me. So that's mostly what I'm trying to accomplish here in this YouTube channel. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Continue uploading YouTube videos, also leaving a diary for myself about what's going on, how am I handling things, how my journey towards financial freedom or towards leaving the 9 to 5, how it's going. I also want to document that for myself. So let me know in the comments, and subscribe if you want to see this journey. If you want to go on this journey with me, that would be awesome. If you could, go along with me and you're doing the same things that I'm doing, and then you let me know what you're doing, and I'll let you know what I'm doing. So let me know in the comments if you have a story related to this. Did you achieve financial freedom? How did you do it? Or are you in the process of doing it? How are you doing it? Or what do you think about all this? Do you think I should just stick to a regular job and stop complaining? You can tell me that too. Anyway, it's nice talking to everyone. Till next time.